This is a souvenir, a new cosmetic item that was introduced with the launch of Overwatch 2, that nobody actually uses. Since the release of souvenirs, there have been multiple discussions whether or not the souvenirs are actually worth having in the game, and questioning their entire purpose. This raises two questions. What are the main issues with the souvenirs? And much more importantly, how can we make souvenirs more appealing? So today, we'll be introducing some changes to the souvenirs by exploring 3 different concepts, from a simple quality of life change to a complete rework of the souvenir system. Before we dive into these concepts, let's take a moment to discuss the main problems with the souvenirs, and why so few players actually use them. I've asked my viewers whether or not they actually use souvenirs in the game, and the results did not surprise me. The majority of my viewers do not use them, so you have a much higher chance of having a good tank player than having somebody use a souvenir in your game. But what did surprise me is that there seems to be a preference for certain souvenirs. From the comments we can see that Winton, Hearts, and Pineapple Pizza are one of the most popular souvenirs in the game. But why? Just for context, there are currently about 100 souvenirs in the game, meaning that out of all of them, only a small amount are actually being used. This suggests that while players do have plenty to choose from, most souvenirs lack something important: emotional value. The reason why you equip a certain skin, spray, or voice line is because you either find it cool, cute, or funny.
And they say.
Let's take Winton's souvenir for example. It is one of the most popular memes in the Overwatch community, or Heart's souvenir being a symbol of friendship. And as for Pineapple Pizza, well, it's simply the best pizza out there. That's not up for a debate. But even if we imagine a scenario where only these 3 souvenirs existed in the game, the majority of people would still not use them. Why not? The answer is simple. Regular emotes are just far more appealing. They often carry more personal or material value. For example, players who play Brigitte often use her cat emote, which is widely regarded as one of the most wholesome emotes in the game. Or if you're somebody who likes spending money on collabs, then you probably also want to showcase all the emotes that come with them. But with only 4 emote slots available, players have to pick and choose which emotes they actually want to equip. And while the solution could be just adding more emote slots to the game, there are probably some technical limitations that prevent that from happening. So, if adding more emote slots is off the table, then the question is, what can we do to make souvenirs actually useful? So without further ado, let's explore the first concept. As we discussed, using souvenirs as an emote is simply not a viable option. So how about repurposing souvenirs for something else? And there's a perfect place where they can actually be used in: the victory poses. Imagine this: you've just carried your team to victory, and as the match ends, you see yourself on the victory podium. But instead of using a standard victory pose, this pose and the souvenir is shown instead, which will be a nice reinforcement of your performance in the match. But what if you were the worst performing player on the team, but still showing off the same souvenir? It could lead to some funny moments with your teammates, joking about how you were definitely the MVP. Now imagine you are playing in a 5-stack with friends. If everyone equips the salt souvenir, you've got the ultimate way to taunt the losing team, adding a little salt to their wounds. And if you don't feel like making fun of the enemy team's loss, then you can show some sportsmanship with a heart or GG souvenir. Let's not forget that souvenirs also come with their own animations, some of which are short and simple, others more complex and longer in duration. This is something most victory poses are missing. And yes, there are a few animated victory poses in the game, but the majority of them are locked behind a paywall. Now let me ask you this: would you rather stick with Junkrat's regular victory pose, or swap it out for his souvenir animation as a victory pose? I think we all know the answer to that one. So let's take the victory pose tab and add a souvenir as an option, which will use the currently equipped souvenir during the victory screen. I believe that using souvenirs as victory poses would add a bit more personality and emotion to the victory screen, and make them just a little bit more dynamic. But I feel that you all are going to like the next idea just a bit more. The second idea is more of a passive way of showcasing your equipped souvenir. This concept takes inspiration from one of the removed abilities in the game, If you played Lifeweaver when he was first introduced, you might remember his unique passive ability, Parting Gift. This passive ability will drop a health pack upon eliminating Lifeweaver, that will also stay on the ground for a certain period of time. While the ability was eventually removed, the concept of leaving something behind after elimination stuck with me. It also reminds me of games like Team Fortress 2, where you can see dropped weapons of teammates or enemies. These small details, in my opinion, matter a lot. So for this concept, we'll do something similar to the Parting Gift ability, but instead of a health pack dropping, it will be your currently equipped souvenir. But hold on a moment. There's a little problem we have to solve. Since we obviously cannot replicate a souvenir dropping directly in the game, we'll need to explore alternative ways to showcase this concept. So let's take this Winton souvenir and use the power of 3D animation to bring this concept to life. We can also do the opposite. Instead of you dropping your souvenir after getting killed, how about your souvenir drops after killing an enemy player? This way, you'll be able to see your souvenir more often. Feel free to tell me in the comments if you think that your souvenir should drop when you kill or get killed by the enemy. But now, let me tell you that this concept does not compare anywhere near with the next and final one. But before we move on, I want to let you know that I've opened a Patreon page. If you'd like to support my ideas, feel free to become a member and receive some extra bonuses. Also like and subscribe for more content. Thanks. The idea for this concept actually comes from something that was teased to us with the Overwatch 2 release trailer, but it never made it into the game. And no, I'm not talking about the inspect animations, which we are still waiting for. I'm talking about another unreleased feature that most people have forgotten about. Let's watch this part of the trailer and see if you can spot it. Did you catch it? This one, the hand gesture that Orisa makes. The hand gestures were supposed to come with the release of Overwatch 2, but something must have gone wrong and it never ended up coming to the game. So that's the idea I'll be borrowing for this concept. But you're probably wondering, how am I going to use this unreleased feature to showcase the souvenirs? Well, I'm going to entirely repurpose this unused feature. Make sure you watch till the end to see the final result. One thing most souvenir animations have in common is that heroes hold the souvenir in their hand. Well, actually it's hovering above their hand. Yeah, you get the idea. The concept here is to showcase the souvenir from the first-person perspective that everyone can see, while maintaining full control of your hero, not switching to third-person view. It will function similarly to the hello animation, but with your equipped souvenir. But hold up! If you play Valorant, you are probably thinking that I'm stealing this concept, because it so happens that they just recently added such feature into the game. Well, in my defense, I had this concept written down since last year, so all I can do is blame Valorant for spying on me, and I guess I'll be deleting the game as well. Anyway, moving on. So before we start, let's add a new section to the hero gallery and call it Gestures. In this menu, you'll be able to select a souvenir you want to equip. And to make it even more functional, we'll introduce a gesture wheel, similar to the ones we already have for sprays and emotes. Now let's create the first-person animation for the souvenirs. I want each animation to be unique for every hero, just like the hello hand animation. But I'm not going to be creating these animations from scratch. Otherwise this video will come out in 10 years. Instead, I'm going to cheat a little bit by using existing souvenir animations and converting them into first-person view animations. We'll be taking Anna and Reinhardt animations for this concept, since they are a bit easier to work with than anyone else. Here's what we've got so far. Now we just need to add a small animation of the souvenir appearing in the hero's hand. And finally, let's see how it all comes together in the game. I believe that these ideas will make souvenirs a lot more appealing to have in the game, so that more players can actually start using them. Let me know what you think. And thank you all for watching.